the worst thing that you can do as an online coach, service provider, online business owner is building an offer that nobody wants or nobody needs. And over the past 5 years, I've worked both at startups together with startup founders, but also coaches, consultants, and content creators who have built digital products or at least failed building digital products because they built something that nobody really wanted. And it just happens so often. In fact, the number one reason why startups fail is because there's just no market need. 42% of startups fail because there's no market need, at least according to this research right here. I believe nowadays the number is way higher because the barrier to entry is quite low. And to be honest with you, I've made this mistake many, many times. I've launched or tried launching products, whether it's side projects, whether it's trying to launch my own startup, or maybe launch my own digital products. I made this mistake so many different times. Back in January 2023, I invested thousands of dollars into building a marketplace, a template marketplace that nobody really wanted. And the reason why I built it is because I just went by feeling. I just felt like it. I thought like, hey, this would be a great idea. And I want to make sure that you don't make the same costly mistakes. So by the end of this video, you're going to know how to validate what people actually want before you start building it, especially if it's relating to info products, coaching programs, and so on. So the reason why most online offers flop in the first place is because they were built in a vacuum. You might realize that you might be kind of finding yourself in the same circle over and over again. And I see coaches build online offers based on what they think sounds smart, not necessarily on what people are actively buying or looking to purchase. And the thing is that you can be an expert in your field. You can create the best program out there and still fail if no one's asking for what you're offering. And in a way, it's kind of like a paradox, right? The fastest way to fail is to try to solve problems that no one's really desperate to fix. But at the same time, you can also fall into the trap where you end up spending way too long trying to solve a problem that no one's desperate to fix. And of course, you want to fall into the same category because you want to fail as quickly as possible. You want to validate as quickly as possible. And there's one thing that I want you to understand. Your offer specifically is not the product. It's actually the problem that people have. Because people don't buy offers, they don't buy coaching, they don't buy accountability, they don't buy social media services, they don't buy copywriting. They buy outcomes. This is the most important lesson right here. People buy outcomes and they don't care about the modules or the way you deliver the service or the toolkit that you use, whether you use School or Whoop, whether you use Go High Level or not, doesn't really matter. They care about what their life is going to look like after they work with you. They care about the shortcut, the relief, the big breakthrough moment when it comes to their mental state, when it comes to their mindset, when it comes to their financial situation. Doesn't really matter. Depends on what you're selling. And the more painful the problem is, right, the more painful the problem feels, the faster they're going to end up buying. And the more expensive the problem feels, the more they're willing to pay. And expensive doesn't necessarily relate to money. It could also be time and stress, right? It's taking a huge toll on your mental health, for instance. And more importantly, the more urgent the problem feels, the less resistance they're going to have when it comes to saying yes. And here's how I like to think about it. You're not selling coaching as an online coach, for instance. You're selling the fastest path to get a certain result that they usually can't get on their own. And let's say you're a service-based business, right? And you sell some sort of lead scraping bot. You're not selling access to a scraping bot. You're selling escape from manually grinding and finding those leads. So as long as you take this mindset, you're going to have a better time when it comes to making sure that you ask the right questions when doing market research. Once you define the problem, like the sharper you define the problem, the more irresistible your offer is going to become. You've probably heard so many people talk about irresistible power offers and so on. And the thing is that they always try to sound clever. They always try to sound technical, right? And make people understand their offer. But the thing is that people don't buy when they understand their offer. They buy because they feel understood by it. They feel understood by you, by the offer. And one thing I want to quickly note is that doing these exercises, going through even this document right here, is pretty much 80% of the work that you're going to do as a coach, consultant, service-based business when you're launching a new product, like, doesn't really matter, right? Because whatever you do, market research is just going to carry it. Offer design, curriculum design, the way you deliver the service, content, right? The way, the top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel content, any sequences that you launch, any email marketing funnels, any copy that you write, it's all going to be based, pretty much 80% based on the market research that you're going to conduct. And this is how I've managed to help my clients reach 5-figure months, even high 5-figure months, by selling coaching, by selling mentorship programs. It's by doing a bunch of market research and making sure that you actually understand your audience, what they want, and what they need. And the way you want to understand it is to understand the following. The reason why people don't buy from you is not necessarily that they don't trust you. In a lot of cases, they don't trust themselves. They don't believe in themselves. And there might be a reason, for instance, like maybe they bought a course in the past and they didn't get any results from the course. Yes, a lot of people, they do blame the course, but there are also quite a few people that they realize, like, okay, look, I bought the course, but I didn't take enough action. So I don't think this is really good for me. I don't really believe in myself. In a way, people have this kind of frame inside their head, this paradigm. They operate from the current paradigm, aka their internal worldview. And most paradigms are built on stuck stories. Nothing ever works for me. It's probably too late. I need to fix 10 different other things before I even start thinking about investing into this program, into this service, whatever it is. So your job is not to convince them that your offer works, that your system works. It's to help them see the problem in a different manner. So you want to shift their belief. Because once you shift their belief, their behavior is going to change. And once the behavior changes, this is when buying becomes the obvious choice, the obvious thing they're going to do. So with that being said, how do you conduct effective market research? A lot of people get it twisted. So they think that doing market research is all about going out and asking people, hey, I'm thinking of launching a course that is going to teach you how to, I don't know, find your dream job. Would you buy this? Or they think about running a poll with very vague, basic questions like, what's your current problem? What is your current frustration? Like, where are you based? And so on. And they end up getting vague feedback from non-buyers, people that are not really qualified even to say anything. Real market research comes from spotting common frustrations that your audience has, noticing what people are already paying for. Like, what is your audience already paying for? Or what solutions did they pay for in the past? And perhaps what were the solutions that they paid for that didn't work out for them? What are the patterns, right, in what isn't working for them? So the best research always happens when you have proper conversations with your audience via DMs, via sales calls, right? Maybe you launch a beta group and you try to get people in at a discount, get as many sales calls in as possible, voice notes, actually talking to people and not just putting up a quick poll on your story. And more importantly, one thing that I want to quickly note, one of the best ways to kind of unveil and make people reveal what they really feel is when they're triggered or when they also feel safe. So it's a little bit of a paradox, right? When people are safe, they're going to reveal everything that they think about, everything that they feel, everything they believe in. And also when they're triggered, when they're angry, that's also when they're going to reveal a bunch of things to you. So even replies to polarizing content is a great way to do market research, to find new angles, new ways, and new frustrations that your audience has. So with that being said, I want you to do the following, right? I want you to sit down and write down on a piece of paper. Are you solving one specific problem for one specific person at the very moment? And if you can't answer all of these three clearly, then you haven't done market research properly yet, right? So do you solve one very specific problem for one very specific type of person with a very specific measurable promise? If you can't answer them clearly, then your market research is not done properly yet. Great research, great market research comes with emotional patterns, not necessarily logic. Like, hey, logic would be, I would buy this program if it's $200. What you want to uncover is the following. Where is your audience, or where are the people leaking time, energy, or income? What did they try in the past and failed to fix? And what will they pay for to solve? Not just what they like to solve, what will they actually pay for? So what you want to ask yourself is, where does this audience congregate online? What platforms do they engage with? And can I get in front of them through content, community, or conversation? Usually the answer is yes, you can, because you already have an audience, right? Most people watching my videos either have a personal brand, they have a LinkedIn profile with thousands of followers, or they have an Instagram account with tens of thousands of followers. So you already have people that you can talk to. And here are some questions that you can ask your audience to uncover patterns, pain points, and purchase drivers. So for instance, what you can say is, what's something you spent money on that didn't work and why? Because here you're going to uncover, well, who do they put the blame on? Themselves or, the thing that they did? What are you currently trying to figure out on your own? If this doesn't get solved soon, what's at risk? Right? So you make them really think, okay, well, if I don't solve this problem, if I don't find a painkiller to solve this problem, what am I going to lose? Where are you confused or overwhelmed that you wish someone would just take over? And who do you follow or buy from in this space, and what made you trust them? This is a very important question. Also gives you an idea on your competitors. And every answer that you get, especially these kinds of questions, every answer that you get is a great data point to start with. However, that being said, your job is to still go a little bit deeper. So if they say something like, "Oh, I feel like I'm stuck at the current moment of my business," ask why they think they're currently stuck in their business. If they say, "I don't have time," right? Ask what's taking it. Like, what are the things that are taking too much time, and how come you don't have time for it? Every great offer is built on a foundation of truthfully answered questions based on people's desires and beliefs and problems that they want to solve, especially if it's more on a deeper subconscious level. So, in terms of next steps, I would like you to just ask me any market research related questions in the comments below. If you struggle with market research, happy to answer any questions that you have. With that being said, I do have a whole ideal client avatar worksheet inside my own coaching program. It's in my own business. Like, this is what I share with my clients usually. If you want to get access to this, more than happy to share it with you as well. And I send weekly newsletters to over 300 plus creators, service-based businesses, and coaches, consultants on how to build and sell premium high-ticket online offers successfully. Just go to audiencemonetize.com/offer launch lab. The link to that is going to be in the video description below. This is a little bit of a different video. I quickly came up with this document because I figure I never really made a video on market research. I always make videos about breaking down funnels. I always make videos about building a sustainable, scalable coaching program, but I never talk about one of the first and most important steps that you want to take if you're serious about growing a microeducation or even service-based business online. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers. Bye-bye.